Self-proclaimed Nazis protested in Nashville yesterday, and also test scores are dropping even more. We're going to cover all that today and more on Speechless. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Speechless. I'm your host, Phares, 23-year-old conservative activist, former college student, still a radio host. And to make sure you don't miss a minute of any of my content, either that of which airs on the radio or airs here right on YouTube, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel through YouTube or Rumble or wherever you're watching from. Comment what you think. Get that comment section rolling. During these live streams, I'm going to talk about what you guys want me to talk about. And so if there's anything I miss, you guys can bring it up right down there and I will talk about it. So bring that comment section up and share this video and this channel with your friends. I'd really appreciate it. But let's get right on into the first story here. Out of the Daily Wire, self-proclaimed neo-Nazis marched through Nashville. Spark condemnation by state leaders, speculation online. A group of self-proclaimed neo-Nazis marched through downtown Nashville on Saturday with large black flags and swastikas prompting condemnations from city and state officials, as well as widespread speculation regarding the identity and intent of the group. Dozens of people calling them, quote, the Blood Tribe, marched through Broadway, a major street in downtown Nashville, wearing black masks and waving flags and swastikas. And so, in case you guys really want to see this, here we go. We got one of the videos pulled up. I got a few videos to show you guys, but let's start off with this one of some of these demonstrators and take note of what they look like, what they're wearing, and the way in which they're demonstrating. It's very interesting. Take a look and a listen here.
What are you ashamed of? Is that the best you got? Best you got? Best you got? Show me your fucking faces! Where's your face? Where's your face? Show me your face. I don't even know who you are. This is my face.
Your people poop in the
Let's
street.
fucking go.
Your people poop in the street.
You don't know my
Your
people.
people poop in the street.
You don't know my people.
Poop in the street.
You don't know my people.
Oh, I do. It's out India, bro. Y'all shit in the street, bro. You're shit. You poop in the
Oh,
street.
you don't know that?
Oh, I do.
Where the fuck am I from?
Because you have shit on your skin.
You guys,
You're
where's your
skinny.
faces? Where's your show me your faces? Cowards! Cowards! All of you! Fucking cowards! Show me your fucking faces! Where's your face, you fucking cowards? Show me your face! Show me your faces, you fucking cowards! All of you! Fucking cowards! Fucking cowards! Fucking cowards! Fucking cowards! Fucking cowards!
So obviously this is pretty vulgar. At least the person videotaping is screaming effing cowards, as well as many of those that are protesting are also screaming things such as you shit in the streets. Let's see if there's anything of value near the end of this.
Fucking cowards! Fucking cowards! At least this guy's got his face open. The rest of them are cowards! Fucking cowards! Fucking cowards! Your grandparents would be ashamed!
You know, so there's a lot of speculation as to what's actually going on in this. And so as we continue with the article, the marchers were vocally condemned by at least one individual of the area who filmed the demonstration and called them cowards for covering their faces. As we just watched, local media reported that a fight broke out on Broadway on Saturday involving at least one member of the group through the Metro Nashville Police Department but they have yet to provide any details on arrests pertaining to the altercation. A Democrat state rep posted a picture of the group marching past the Davidson County Courthouse, declaring that these groups, once relegated to the dark corners, now feel empowered to spew their noxious ideology out in the open due to our state's leadership, quote, refusing to condemn their speech and actions. Very interesting. But the group was quickly rebuked by state leadership, with Tennessee's Republican governor Bill Lee writing, quote, Nazism and anti-Semitism should never be tolerated in any form. As Jewish people around the world continue to face persecution, Tennessee remains unwavering in our support for the nation of Israel and her people. And this brings up a great point. And before I get into a little bit more analysis, I also want to bring forth this video, which was posted by Representative Justin Jones. If you guys don't remember, Justin Jones is basically, I believe he's a self-described democratic socialist, which basically means that he's a commie neo-Marxist, and in some ways just anti anything that has to do with conservatism, hates people like me, was actually expelled from the Tennessee State House for inappropriate behavior. And so let's take a look and listen at this video of him talking or being around these supposed neo-Nazis. I'm going to make sure I get the right tab up open here. Here we go. Take a look and listen.
They are literally having a Nazi march. Here in downtown Nashville. White supremacists talking about white supremacist neo-Nazism, talking about deporting folks and just racial hatred. This is what we're seeing here in Nashville.
Okay, talking about deporting folks, that's the worst thing you can come up with when you literally see them holding Nazi flags and having Nazi insignia. Deporting people is not in and of itself white supremacy, mister, but this is the problem with lefties. Lefties will just say everything is white supremacy. And so then when you actually do have people that are protesting with Nazi regalia, it kind of, you are diminishing the significance of what this very well could be. And so here's the thing is you have a lot of people on the right that are coming out with significant speculation as to whether or not these people were genuine. And I don't know for sure. Before I talk about anything else when it comes to this protest, I want to say I don't know whether or not these people were actually Nazis. I usually like to go based off of the quote. When people tell you or show you who they are, believe them. But we know, at least as it pertains to certain dates early in the year and from the year of 2021, I can't get very specific in what I'm trying to say because all the ScrewTube monitors and other social media anti-speech people will get mad at me if I recognize the fact that it tends to be shown that many can infiltrate or disguise themselves as a certain ideology to make others look bad. This was seen at a certain thing that is oftentimes called an insurrection. Not really factually called that, but I think you guys are getting my point without me having to get shadow banned or even further banned. But there's some reasons why I'm led to believe that this demonstration was not actually of actual neo-Nazis. First off, this is from a group that's called the Blood Tribe. The Blood Tribe is something I've never really heard of. It hasn't really been it says that it was founded, at least according to their Wikipedia page. There's not much found on them, but according to their Wikipedia page, they were founded in 2020, who was by a former Marine turned tattoo artist. And by 2023, members of the group began participating in anti-LGBTQ protests and established chapters in the US and Canada. Founded around the same time as the neo-Nazi group The Base and the Nationalist Social Club, Blood Tribe has described itself as a, quote, end of the pipeline type group in terms of its extreme radicalization. There's not much really known about this group. There's a brief level of background and not many activities or any demonstrations, one of which in which they're claimed to have disrupted a drag queen story hour, and another one in which they participated in some anti-Semitic hate group thing that they partnered with, and then in August of last year, some main officials were considering prohibiting militia training camps, which raised free speech issues, and this group apparently had something to say about it. And then finally, this Tennessee state capitol issue. look, I'm led to believe that these are not actual real Nazis, and for a few reasons. So let's go back first off to the video that I played first. We can just go to a brief moment of it. And once again, pay attention to what these people are wearing and how they are dressed.
It's out India, bro. Y'all shit in the street, bro. You're shit.
You can see here.
To poop in the
Oh,
street.
you don't know that?
They cover their
Where the
faces.
fuck am I from?
Because you have shit on your skin.
You guys,
You're
where's your
skin.
faces? Where's your
They cover their faces with black. Obviously, they do have red T-shirts on, but they're in a lot of black, very, very covered, and not actually showing any level of identity to them. Compare that now with what it was considered to be one of the largest neo-Nazi racist gatherings that had happened in recent memory back in 2017. If you go to the Unite the Right rally, the nationalist rally that has continuously been talked about for years and years and years, and we look at some of the pictures from that, and some of the and how the people were dressed and how they looked. Let me pull up these pictures here. I just was thinking about this as I was watching that video, so I want to make sure that if we just look, I'll just even pull up. Yeah, let's look at the Charlottesville Nazis from the Unite the Right rally. Let's pull up. I can just share my screen here. Share this tab instead. You can look at some of these images. You could see people in there. We could pull up the Unite the Right rally here. That is not how the people were dressed. And okay, some people might claim that, oh, well, this is a different group or something like that. I'm not claiming to know anything. But when I look at how the people are dressed in these neo-Nazi rallies, and if you look at all of the things in this Unite the Right, I mean, you could look at other Nazi symbolism, these quote unquote alt-right groups, which in reality, if you look at Nazism is actually more at least in terms of a lot of what they do, is more resembling that of the left, and for some reason always gets pushed as people on the right. Many of Charlottesville Nazis. So then that now instead, so you've seen some people that have dressed up as Nazis for the Unite the Right rally, but now let's look at like Antifa and how they dress. Okay, black and red being a primary color scheme. You can see it. This is the anti-fascist handbook. You can also see how they dress now. Black and red, faces covered significantly. Oh, that says far right capital people at the kit. We're not involved with Antifa. That's just some leftist propaganda there. But if we look at actual Antifa protests here, and I'm trying to find some of their Antifa protest 2020. Okay. Now look at how they're dressed. Very, very similar to those of this quote unquote Nazi brigade in Nashville. Now, I'm once again going to say, I don't know whether or not, I must have covered some of these things. But yeah, you can see a lot of these people. Sorry, I have one screen for all this stuff, so I'm doing my best to produce as much as I can, or produce as best as I can, while also showing you guys everything on screen. But you can see that it would seem as though there might be some reason to believe that there is that these people might not actually be Nazis, or if they are Nazis, they might not necessarily have an affiliation as some would believe. So, like as I pointed out earlier, that video that Justin Jones had posted. Let's look at the full tweet. Justin Jones, again, the Democratic Socialist representative from Tennessee, from their state house, I believe. Let's look at the full tweet of what he posted. Okay. Just left an event honoring a black sorority and spoke of the need to unite against the rising tide of white supremacy, only to be confronted by Nazis marching through downtown Nashville. This is an important part of this. This is exactly what my Republican colleagues' hate speech is fostering and inviting. Wait. This is what the Republicans' hate speech is fostering, inviting the Nazis. And if you remember correctly, as I do, Nazism and the entire point of it in its rise had to do with anti-Jewish sentiment. Which party is the one that hosts more people that support the Islamic terrorists in Palestine? Is that those that are terrorizing Jewish people on the basis of their religion? Which American politicians are more supportive of that? Is it these evil, evil Republicans and their hate speech? Or is it, as Tennessee Governor pointed out, Bill Lee, Nazism and anti-Semitism should never be tolerated in any form. As Jewish people around the world continue to face persecution, Tennessee remains unwavering in their support of the nation of Israel and her people. Who spreads more of the Nazistic messaging? The evil, evil Republicans? Or the anti-Semitic Democrats? Just saying, Mr. Jones. Just saying. So as we go into this, as we look into this story and wait for maybe some more facts on this, I'm not inclined personally to believe that these are ardent Trump supporters, as Democrats will make you believe. I'm also not even inclined to believe that these people are genuinely Nazis in and of themselves. Because as every time that I've seen some level of a Nazi protest, they're pretty shameless about their support for such a vile, vile cause. Usually it's because they're not even educated on what it genuinely means to be a Nazi. They're just disgruntled, oftentimes from some national narratives, and don't even do their research. I don't think that these people, I mean, it's like, listen to Michael Knowles. Here's a Michael Knowles tweet on this. So let me see if I have this right. Today in Nashville, there was a neo-Nazi march led by a guy who endorsed Biden, but Biden supports arming Ukraine, which Putin invaded to denazify, even though it's led by a Jew. Because the apparent leader of this group previously praised Joe Biden when he was asked by a reporter who he would be voting for in an upcoming presidential election, citing Biden's policies in support of Ukraine. So this just doesn't make any sense. My belief, setup. Maybe Fed Boys. Maybe Antifa. Who knows? Just a poor attempt to try to garner a narrative to slander the right as Nazis once again. That's really what I think. That's what I think. I'm not going to say I have any facts. I don't have any inside knowledge. I don't have any knowledge outside of what we all could have. But that's where I see it. That's how I see that story. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the comments. Peep the hoodie. Absolutely. FJB right here, everybody. FJB. This is my new hoodie. I just got this one from Old Row. Not a sponsor or anything. I just like Old Row. But FJB, it's a comfy hoodie. It's comfort colors too. It's more blue than it might come up on the screen. I think on the screen it comes up a little gray, but I love it. Thank you, Demon Girl, for noticing. It's an amazing hoodie. Oklahoma Chicken Cam, always great to see you. Thank you. Howdy to you as well. I appreciate you joining. Looks like Antifa cosplaying as Nazis to me. Absolutely. And what their exact purpose is, I don't know either. But I would say, again, I just don't believe that it's as surface level as people would make it seem. That looks like those Patriot Front feds. Yeah, probably. Could be feds, as Oklahoma Chicken Cam said. Keep the comments coming, guys. Also, I'll be honest, my show prep today, I have a few stories. I could have some more time to talk about other things. So let me know in the comments if there's anything else I should talk about, any videos that I should react to, anything crazy. You can put it in the comments. You can also email me, speechlesskp@gmail.com. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking. And if there's anything that I'm missing, I know I have not done enough research on the Fannie Willis story. I want to talk about that one maybe tomorrow. Maybe I'll do another Monday live stream. I think you guys like that. So maybe I'll do a Monday live stream. I'll see what you guys see what's going on. What days? Here's something to put in the comments. If you got to pick when you watch Speechless live streams, what days and times would it be? What days and times? And if you say every day, all day, well, then you better be ready to support the show more, because if you want me to be able to do every day, all day, I'm going to need some help. And so that's the way. That's a way you can help me right there. Support the show if you want to. In any other way, you could become a member. You could do super chats, anything like that. Or you could Venmo Cash App. I'd really appreciate it. That's if you want me to do all day, every day. But if you want increased frequency, I'd love to go live. I think it's fun, but I also have to work. So let's see what we got. Oklahoma Chicken Cam saying here. Isn't the Daily Wire HQ in Nashville? Could be them trying to knock down on Nashville in general. You think Daily Wire is sending out neo-Nazis in Nashville? Why? Could be them trying to knock down on Nashville and John. No, probably not. I don't think so. Because I saw this. This was trending all over Twitter. I just use the Daily Wire as a source because I love the Daily Wire as a source, and I think they do great work, personally. Demon Girl says, I do not hear the voice of Kev Phares enough. That's perfectly fine. I mean, if you I guess if anybody really wants my cell number, and you want a phone call, I definitely could make that happen too. For only an elite few who support the show in creative ways or in ways other than just, also, I love when you guys like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun stuff. But if you want to support the show more, maybe you can get my cell phone number. You could have, God, selling my cell phone number. Is that what I've come to? No. We're not doing that. But let's get into this next story here that I want to talk about. Let me make sure I have all my tabs ready. Keep the comments coming, everybody. I would definitely want to know what you're thinking. But I want to talk about this Ash Wednesday thing. So Ash Wednesday happened this last week. If you guys are a good Christian, I hope you went and got your ashes. If you're not Christian, that's perfectly fine. But I think you're still going to have an interest in this story. A relatively unknown university that I only knew because of this story had some churches that did a pretty interesting thing for Ash Wednesday. They turned it gay. They made Ash Wednesday gay. Look, and I've talked on this show about woke churches before, about a lot of times Methodists that come out and they're like, oh my God, like Jesus himself was gay. And they spread stupid crap like that is just anti-Leviticus. Read Leviticus. I believe it's 1822. Leviticus 1822. A man shall not lay with a man. If he does, it's an abomination. Like, I don't care personally. Look, if you want to be butt buddies with somebody, if that's your thing, if you're a pride flag painted on your face, go out, dress half naked in June. Look, I got some problems with that. But by and large, what you want to do in your bedroom, not my problem. There's one person who you're gonna have to answer for that too. But I can tell you he's not approving of it. God and Jesus love all. But they don't love the sin. They don't. And so at Fort Hays State University, when it comes to Ash Wednesday, which is arguably one of the holiest days of the year, I won't say it is the holiest day, but is one of the holiest days of the year, and they celebrate it, multiple churches at Fort Hays State University celebrate it by celebrating queerness and infusing the ashes with glitter, I'm going to have a problem. And so if you look, there's a daily announcement. This is posted by Libs of TikTok from Fort Hays State University. Daily announcement, February 13th, 2024. Get your ash on campus Wednesday, February 14th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the MU. You can get your Ash Wednesday ashes to go. You can choose traditional ashes or glitter plus ash. Make upgrade, biodegradable purple glitter mixed with traditional ashes. Why glitter? Why glitter, everybody? Because glitter is an inextricable element of queer history. Glitter plus ash is an inherently queer sign of Christian belief. Why does there need to be any level of infusing queer history with Christian belief? Why? Blending symbols of Ash Wednesday, we will make that spark of life easier to see. We will stand witness to the gritty, glittery, scandalous hope that exists in the very marrow of the LGBTQ plus tradition. For more information, visit http. You can also find our event on Tiger Link and Facebook. I kind of want some more information. I wasn't planning on doing this, but let's actually go to that link. Parody.nyc / order glitter ash 2021. Order glitter ash 2021. Are you guys curious? Because I sure as hell am. Okay, let's look at this page now. Share this tab. Glitter ashes. Oh man, glitter ashes. Glitter Ash Wednesday it was February 14th. Also, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I hope if you have somebody in your life that you celebrated with them. I know some people don't like Valentine's Day. It can be a cutesy holiday. It can be a little overrated, whatever. But if you're looking for love, I will always be a matchmaker here on Speechless. I've helped Andrea with it in the past, and I will. And I know it might not have worked out, but we're going to find love here. It's Speechless Dating Service. You can always come find me, and I will help you find the love of your life. And I'll also give you honest dating advice. That's a new segment I will do. If you need dating advice, email me, speechlesskp@gmail.com, and I will give you dating advice. It might not be what you like to hear. It might not be good advice, but it'll be dating advice, and it'll be free, and it'll be entertaining. So, but I digress on that. Let's go into this Glitter Ash Wednesday. On Ash Wednesday, we will be seen. Glitter is like love. It's irresistible and irrepressible. We will tell the truth. Ashes are a statement that death and suffering are real. Glitter is a sign of hope, which does not despair. Glitter signals our promise to repent, to show up, to witness, to work. Glitter never gives up, and neither do we. Glitter never gives up. What does that even mean? Also, how does it signal our promise to repent? Also, what are you repenting? If you're going to celebrate something that is quite obviously a sin in the eyes of the Lord, then what are you repenting for? You mustn't need to repent, because in your eyes you must be perfect, because there is no such thing as sin, because there can't be objective morality or objective sin if you're going to deny one a pretty crucial sin and act like it just doesn't exist or recognize any level of problem with it and celebrate it unapologetically. So before we keep going, I do want to read some more of this, of what's going on with Glitter Ash Wednesday, but I also want to be clear on the purpose of Ash Wednesday and what ashes actually mean. Like, why do Christians, and this is a question you might not have even asked yourself before, because you might just be like me. I'm an Irish Catholic. I always have for the most part, I pretty much always have my cross on. I was born and raised Irish Catholic. And so for a lot of my life, I just went to Ash Wednesday, and it was just like, okay, you go get your ashes. Like, this is just what you do. You sacrifice something for Lent. This is just what you do. But Ash Wednesday, if you don't know the purpose of it, begins the 40 days of Lent, a time when we remember that Jesus spent 40 days in the desert, fasting and resisting temptation. And if you're a Catholic like myself and you went to Mass this weekend, you would have heard from the gospel the discussion about how this is what Jesus did. He went into, because this is the first Sunday after the beginning of Lent, he went into the desert, he fasted, and he was receiving counsel from angels, monastery from angels, for 40 days. So Catholics wear a marking of the cross on their foreheads of ash, and the ashes are actually meant to symbolize mortality. If you look at Genesis 3:19 states, "Remember, you are dust, and to dust you shall return." Similar to that Kansas song, "Dust in the Wind," or maybe the end of Blade Runner when they say we're nothing but tears in rain. It's a reminder. Remember, you are dust, and to dust you shall return. This is simply our mortal body. Simple dust compared to what we will be. in the eternal kingdom of heaven. However, to this university, Fort Hays State University, and some of their ministry, ashes are so much more. Ashes have to do with the Legibetica community. The public face of Christianity is often a face of intolerance. Intolerance, especially towards LGBTQIA people. There are millions of Christians who believe that the gospel commands us to love, not hate. Glitter ashes are a witness to an inclusive Christian message. Look, here's the thing. Christianity is not in and of itself inclusive. And this is something I've talked about on this show in a lot of different ways. Is no, Christianity is not meant to be inclusive. The world is not meant to be inclusive. Period. In fact, people will always be like, I actually saw, I don't want to claim this to be my own thought, but I couldn't tell you exactly who said it. I was scrolling through Facebook the other day, and there was a comedian that I saw. And he talked about how it's kind of crazy that America gets claimed as racist all the time. And this is an idea I've hit upon on this show before, is that if you look at it, every single country is racist in some way. If they weren't, or at least they're in some way discriminatory, because if they weren't, we wouldn't have countries, period. I've talked about it in the terms of America is actually the greatest country on the face of the planet because you could come from anywhere and become an American. You could assimilate first generation into becoming an American. You can't go to China and automatically become Chinese. You'll have lefties who will be like, oh, there's no racism in Sweden. There's no racism in Sweden. That doesn't exist. Go over to Sweden. It's a crap ton of white people. So yeah, of course there's no racism in Sweden because there's no race in Sweden. Look at the statistics. I guarantee you less than 5% of their population is anything other than white. So everybody's going to dog on America? We're all going to dog on America because we're the country that actually tries to say, hey, like let's welcome everybody. Let's welcome everybody. Oh, but apparently we're the racist nation. We're the racist nation. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Idiocy. Absolute idiocy. A certain level of discrimination happens literally everywhere. I mean, okay, let's even go back to the story I just covered before this. I talked about how there was the Justin Jones, and he had just come from a black sorority. That's discriminatory. That's intolerance. A black sorority, I guarantee you, would not allow me, a straight white guy, into their sorority. Rightfully so. I mean, it's your space, whatever. Go for it. And so when you read the Bible, and it literally says in it, a man shall not lay with a man. If he does, it's an abomination. Or you go back to the beginning, and it's God made man and woman in his image. He created them. And there's nothing in between. It's not, you can change it. That's how you were created in the eyes of God. Yes, there's going to be a certain level of intolerance for things that go directly against those beliefs. Now, it's not going to be intolerance of the individual. If somebody is genuinely interested in becoming a Christian or a Catholic and they've participated and been immersed in a homosexual lifestyle, it's not going to be, oh my God, we hate you, you're not allowed to. No, anybody is available for repentance up until the moment of death. In fact, in the Catholic faith, you have opportunity for repentance in the form of purgatory. But when you celebrate it, your sin, and act as though everybody else is wrong for recognizing sin exists, I'm sorry, but you're not saved. No matter how much you tell yourself you are. And so you look at things like this, it says, Christian condemnation is toxic, doing vast damage to queer people, especially to queer youth, and to their families who are told they should reject their children. Look, no one should reject their children. However, having honest discussions about what your religion and your faith mean is not in and of itself a rejection of your child as a whole. And this is the problem with a lot of the left. And I'm kind of getting done with this story a little bit. But this is I'm going to wrap this story up by looking why glitter. Screw you. I don't care. How do I get involved? Find a place to get ashes. This is all stupid. And I don't know. It's the problem with all of this is that it's coming from a major leftist narrative. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you've ever met a conservative gay guy, they exist. Like you can find, I mean, look at Gays Against Groomers. Gays Against Groomers is a real movement in which it's a lot of gay people, lesbians, stuff like that, who are just very against like all of the gay books in classrooms and people over sexualizing children. They're against a lot of pride stuff. A lot of those people, being gay is not their entire identity, or it's not even like the main thing in their identity. Dave Rubin's gay. I didn't know that for like the first 3 years I was listening to Dave Rubin. Really nice guy, really cool guy. Other people, I know people in my personal life would never have guessed that they were gay. They are. Because to them, being gay isn't like all of their personality. Just as much for me, being straight, being attracted to women is not all of my personality. There's so much more. There's so much more. However, to the left, when they say things like what I just read to you, is that to their families who are told they should reject their children, no one should reject your child for one facet of their life. In fact, I actually believe that for the most part, parents are very, very accepting and understanding of their children for the most part. Obviously, there's exceptions to the rule. But I also believe that most people are good. Maybe I'm too optimistic in that statement. But what I mean is that if you reject your child, or at least as the left would see it, a rejection of your child could only be because of a singular purpose or a single point of their life, and it must be because of homosexuality, and it must only be because of their identification with that community, because that is the most important thing that child holds, is their victim status and their self-identity, or just their identity in general. There's nothing more important to that child. There's nothing more important to that child, such as their accomplishments, their friendships, their relationships, their passions, the things that interest them, their story. No, none of that actually matters to the left. What matters is, who do you sleep with and who do you want to sleep with at whatever age you're in? And it's absolutely despicable. Now, there has been a little bit of hope with a lot of this. We're currently at a turning point. I'm going to talk a little bit more in the next segment, in the next story I have, about kind of the rejection of some of the some acceptance, but also rejection of the Legibutica stuff in the public sphere, especially among children. But we're also at a turning point in the fact that, and maybe it's just, we have noticed there's objective instances in which we notice that young people are getting turned back towards Christianity in many ways, in many different ways. And one of which is towards, there's been a weird resurgence, and I've seen it on social media, towards the Catholic faith, which I'm happy about personally. But even just, I mean, we saw last year, there was that big Christian revival that had happened. Crazy stuff. And so I think that there genuinely is hope and people coming back to Jesus, people coming back to Christ and Christianity. But it takes a fight, and it takes calling out crap like this. No, being gay is not loved by God. That's a sin, just as much as drunkenness isn't loved by God, or premarital sex, or unapologetic holiness, for the lack of a better term. If you're an OnlyFans model, anything like that, not loved by God. The people that partake, all of them loved by God. Their actions, not so much. But that doesn't matter to a lot of people. People try to rewrite, just as much as people try to rewrite American history, they try to rewrite they try to rewrite the story of our country, the story of our ancestors. They try to also rewrite the Bible. And I think that's the one story that, look, I'm not going to tolerate any of it. But if I had to tolerate any of it, I would tolerate all of it except for rewriting the Bible. That's where I draw the line. Greatest story ever told. Not going to let it happen. All right, let's see what we got going on in the comments here, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, all that fun stuff. Did not work out with next exit. Oh, man. Well, anybody, if you're interested, if you're in, we could start online dating through Speechless. I'd be more than willing to help out with it. I will say I will only do it in a Christian way. I'm not a hookup service or anything like that. Both parties must be looking for a long-term serious, and you must both be willing to say, I am looking for a wife or I am looking for a husband. If you're not willing to say that, I am not helping you find any kind of love here on Speechless. But Speechless Kev, the dating guru, is open for business for the low, low price of your honesty. So I'd be more than willing to help. Andrea, thank you for joining in, by the way. I really do appreciate it. That was def not satire. Okay, Demon Girl. Saying Nashville could have been targeted because, that makes sense. Okay, maybe. I see what you're saying there, Oklahoma Chicken Cam. Jim Adams, my buddy. People tolerate the mockery, so it continues. The church is weak. The church is weak, but the church is only weak if we let it be weak. So do your research on the church you're currently in. I don't let my church be weak. I can tell you. Call out injustice, call out heresy, call it out when you see it. And all that stuff. This is the same thing the Nazis did in the churches in the 1930s. Interesting, yep. All we are is airborne mini dirt. Yep, there we go, Oklahoma. Americans are called racist because many Americans will try to do things and give money to prove they aren't racist. Yeah, true. Because it's honestly, in and of itself, the anti-racism thing is in and of itself a religion. And this is what happens with a lot of the things on the left is they replace the inherent need for a level of religion, a moral code and a way in a way of life, with mortal like needs or mortal just, I don't know, wants. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but my point being with this is that you'll have the left, which they'll say, no, you shouldn't, like, Christianity will shame you. If you're gay, Christianity will shame you. If you want to have fun, Christianity won't let you do it. Christianity won't let you do it. If you want to be happy, Christianity doesn't let you do it because they'll shame you for all the things that you think are fun. Okay. Look, I'm not a Mormon. And I don't believe in the Mormon faith. However, I will tell you, I've met many Mormons. Very, very devout individuals. People that get up. I mean, if you meet an actually devout Mormon, very devout people. Very, very committed to what they believe. I think it's wrong, but very committed to it. They're also very, very happy people. I've never met an angry or sad Mormon. I've never seen a picture of a Mormon unhappy. Seriously, it's kind of a crazy thought. I've met a lot of leftists. I've met a lot of people with snow cone color hair, unusual piercings across their body, and braggadocious about their less than worthy braggable physiques. I can tell you, the Mormons, so much happier. So much happier. Anybody of faith, for the most part, is so much happier than anybody who subscribes to the woke religions of anti-racism, climate culture, socialism, communism. People that are actually religious are so much happier than anybody I've ever met on the left. I don't have a statistic for it. It's based on my purview. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments. But I'm inclined to believe I'm right. You want to know why? Because they're living by what they know to be good. Because they have a guidebook that says this is what is good. This is what will make you happy. This is what is virtuous. And it's time and tested for thousands of years. So that versus the new age, like go have sex with whoever you want and just you don't use all the right language so you don't offend anybody and be tolerant unless you're a bigot. Like, yeah, I'm gonna trust the 2,000-year-old book much more. Just my personal rant there. The Legibeticus do not want to repent. That requires stuff or self accountability. And what do we know? I mean, I consistently say it on the show. A lot of the lefties don't want accountability. What they want to do is change the church so there is acceptance and tolerance of the sin and degeneracy. Honestly, it's the work of the devil. I mean, in some way. And again, say it all the time. I'm not a big like everything is satanic. But I do believe that Satan works in a lot of interesting ways, just as much as God works in mysterious ways. Satan does too. And Satan is a lot more plain to see. And this is an example of it, I will say. Holiness, yep, coined by Phares. I am trying to be matchmaker, and Andrea is looking for a husband. If anybody is looking for a wife, Andrea may be your type, and I can set it up. I'll make it happen. Again, Mormons, okay, again, like, my thing about Mormonism is I've looked into their faith, I've looked into their beliefs, everything with Joseph Smith, and also their church has done a lot of shady things, like the people that lead it. And so like it's not my thing. The Third Testament to the Bible of Joseph Smith on the found stones that no one else is allowed to see seems a little odd to me. Not my thing. But again, very, very nice people, very, very devout people to what they believe in. So I'll give credit where credit's due. Okay, let's get into this next story here. This is out of Wire Points. So everybody, I do recommend you go check out Wire Points. Wire Points is a lot of what they cover usually is more Illinois, but it has relation to larger themes that we see nationwide, playing out nationwide. And so I'm going to talk to you guys about this Wire Points article, but I also need to pull up these other things that I want to make sure I share with all of you that have to do with this Wire Points article. This is about education and what's going on in our school systems. And so let's take a look here. Wire Points, everybody, go make sure you go check out their articles and stuff. It's just a good organization. Wire Points. Education fail. This is from earlier this week. Not a single child tested proficient in math in 67 Illinois schools. And for reading, it's 32 schools, according to this Wire Points special report. Last week, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and Jordan Peterson helped expose the failures of Illinois public education system on X. Their engagement with a Wire Points report, Illinois Education 2022, not a single student can do math at grade level in 53 schools. For reading, it's 30 schools, revealed that thousands of students trapped in completely failing schools in 2022. But those results are now old news. Wire Points has just run the new ISBE report card data, and the outcomes are worse, even though the impacts of COVID are another year behind us. In 2023, there were 67 Illinois schools where not a single student tested was proficient in math, and 32 schools where not a single was proficient in reading. What's worse, officials in those schools graduated nearly 70% of their students. So in these schools in which not a single one is proficient in math or reading, these children are graduating, are being given a diploma that says you're good enough, when in reality, you're not. More than 12,000 students attend Illinois' zero proficiency schools. Every single one of those children will struggle in life because they lack basic reading and math skills. And you can see all of this down here of a lot of the different school districts that we're looking at in schools. And so, like, if You can go check this out on wirepoints.org. I mean, this is like something that they publish. And you could look, like, so take Collins Academy High School on Chicago's West Side with 219 students and 55 employees. They spend $27,000 per student. And the ISBE declares the school commendable, the state's second highest rating. But not a single student tested was proficient in reading or math in 2023. And yet 79% of their students graduated. Not a single one of them. We have, and there's so many reasons for this, because I'm going to talk about some of them as to why I think that we're not proficient in reading and math. But we have an epidemic right now of this is not just in Illinois. This is the other thing I want to point out, is this is not just in Illinois. Actually, according to the Associated Press, and this is from back in 2023, the National Assessment of Educational Progress long-term trend test for 13-year-olds show a 4-point decline in reading scores from 260 in 2020 to 256 in 2023. In math students, they had a 9-point decline from 280 to 271. The highest points available for each test is 500. Nationwide, our scores are getting lower. Now, the Associated Press still blames COVID. They will still say, man, we're still reeling from the effects of COVID. I'm sorry, we've been back in school for, like, in-person classrooms have been back for quite a while now. We shouldn't be continuously declining. We should have hit a point. Hit our low point by now. The reason for continuous decline would not simply be COVID, at least not decline at this level. And also, there is no good reason why schools like those in Illinois cannot test a single student proficient at grade level while also graduating those students. This is exactly what happens in a communist country or a socialist country, or at least this is the start. People will oftentimes brag about how Cuba at one point had a higher literacy rate than in the United States under Fidel Castro. You want to know why? Because he lowered standards and killed people that couldn't meet them. Now, I'm not saying the government is going to go kill people right now that are not meeting their standards to achieve higher literacy rates. I don't think they care enough to do that. I think they're just going to keep lowering standards and call you racist for reading, which is exactly what's going on right now. We have an education system that has lowered standards and said that you're a bigot if you question it. And not only do they lower standards, they focus on the wrong things. Last week, I talked about woke kindergarten. We also have things such as this. Let's take a look right here from Libs of TikTok. And Libs of TikTok just does a great job covering a lot of this stuff. And so I have a few different Libs of TikTok things to react to. So look at this one right here. So let me pull it on screen. This is a middle school in Winnipeg. And Libs of TikTok says, I receive messages like this daily. And so they have on their bulletin boards, this looks like an elementary school, the LGBTQ plus and more. And they got all these rainbows that were drawn by the kids. Then they have a big old trans flag and on a whiteboard. Like there's nothing of substance on this whiteboard about like, hey, like, here's how you read, or 2 + 2 = 4. No, it's just a big old trans flag and the rainbow colors. Trans is beautiful, all that stuff. Nothing of any level of educational value. And so these are being put up in schools. Then you have teachers that are acting in absolutely degenerate behavior. You could take a look and listen at this one. This is actually a non-binary teacher from Frisco ISD, Frisco being an area of Texas. And this is received from a parent. And this is an actual teacher. A kid found this teacher on TikTok. And I have to warn you about the content. The things that are said in this video are very, very strange and odd. Take a look and listen at this teacher. This is a person that actually teaches children. Not even kidding. Actually teaches children. This is what he said.
Come on, can I see your cock, King? Come on, just this once. It's just one time, please. Come on, just for a little.
I'm sorry, but that does not command any level of respect from me, or nor would I blame any student for disrespecting this teacher. Like, you are not, and that's honestly just if you pretend to be a gender you're not, or think that you're non-binary or something like that, I don't really respect you. Anyways, like, I mean, if you're going to live in such a fantasy land, but like this, can I see your genitals, king? That's what this teacher is saying. The students are going to find that and they're going to laugh about it. Can I see your genitals? Can I see your COCK is what this individual said. I don't respect that whatsoever. And so that's a teacher. Those are people that are teaching your kids. And then we have to question the content of which our students are receiving. There's been, I mean, I talked about woke kindergarten last weekend. Let's take a look, or last Monday at least. What about this one? This is Garrett Jones, an assistant principal for an elementary school, in which he says he thinks it's appropriate for 8-year-olds to be reading pornography and dirty magazines. And I'm not even making this up. And this might feel like beating a dead horse to some of you, but I can tell you it's not. It's something that we need to look at. We need to actually hear every single instance of this, so we know the people that when we can actually regain power nationwide, these are the people that need to be held accountable for the actions and the corrupting of our youth, and not just corrupting of our youth in a sexual way, because it's not just corrupting our youth in a sexual way. It's also corrupting them in the fact that they can't read, write, or do math. In part because of the woke crap that people are so committed to shoving down our throats. Listen to this.
I believe you two have children, is that correct?
Yes,
What ages are they?
18, 16, and 13.
And would you find it appropriate if they brought this book home, we're talking about dirty magazines and pornography in a K-5 environment?
I think it would open up a conversation that we would have.
So you think the book is appropriate in the K-5 environment, even though it's referencing pornography and dirty magazines?
I think in my, what I voted for was that it would be for the 3 to 5 age group.
Oh,
Which would be
okay.
what-
So it's okay because we're going to allow it for just only the older elementary school students. We're going to allow pornography for only the older elementary school students. It gets better. Don't worry. I mean, it gets worse, but richer.
What ages?
So that would be 8 to 10, 12.
So you think an 8-year-old would be appropriate to be reading about pornography and dirty magazines from school?
Yes.
I believe
Yes. Yes. He gets forced into the corner. And you could tell based on the weird thing about all of this is that based on this man's answers that he was giving, you can tell that he thinks that he knows what he's doing is wrong. That he knows what he's doing is wrong. That's why he keeps trying to skirt around it and be like, well, I wouldn't really want this for my kids. Like, I know that this isn't right, but like, he's still doing it. I'm not excusing his actions by noting that it seems like he knows what he's doing is wrong. If anything, it's worse when you know what you're doing is wrong. You know that you wouldn't do it personally, but you're fine but you know that you'll get in trouble with the woke mob, and so you won't stand up for what's right. This is the same problem I have. This is about as bad, honestly. No, I wouldn't necessarily say worse. This is about as bad as when I hear people and they're like, well, I wouldn't personally get an abortion, but like, I'm not going to try to tell other people what to do. It's the same way of, I wouldn't personally own a slave, but I'm not going to try to tell other people what to do. I wouldn't personally murder somebody, but I'm not going to try to tell other people what to do. I wouldn't personally loot a store, but I'm not going to try to tell other people what to do. You see what I'm doing here? I wouldn't personally let my kids read pornography from kindergarten through 5th grade, if not even after, but I'm not going to try to tell other people what to do. Look, I don't like to be somebody who is ardently judgmental about everything. I'm not. I wouldn't consider myself a very judgmental person. But a certain level of judgment needs to come. Why? Because when good people don't do anything, Bad people will win. When good people don't stand up and say something, the bad people's voices will be the only ones heard. And so it's necessary to call out this kind of crap. And it's also necessary to vote for people that will call out this kind of crap. A perfect example of that is Valentina Gomez. Valentina Gomez is running for the Secretary of State in Missouri, I believe. And she has now become number one on the hit list of the libs. And here's why, is because she went viral for this campaign advertisement that she posted in which she burns books. And look, this is a thing I've talked about on the show, the book bans and everything that the lefties try to accuse the right of. And here's my thing I've consistently said. It's not about banning the book, period. We're not saying you can't read it. We're saying that it shouldn't be in public libraries. It shouldn't be easily accessible to children. It shouldn't be in schools. These books that are definitively pornographic and more than problematic. This is the video of her burning these books, and the caption on it is, "When I'm Secretary of State, I will burn all the books that are grooming, indoctrinating, and sexualizing our children. MAGA America first." Here's that video. Let's take a look and a listen at this absolute true patriot right here.
This is what I will do to the grooming books when I become Secretary of State.
Let's go. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it that.
These books come from Missouri Public Library. When I'm in office, they will burn.
Valentina Gomez, what an absolute badass right there. A very strong and great Hispanic woman, I assume. And so the books that she's burning in that are, quote, Naked, Not Your Average Sex Encyclopedia by Miriam Daguzin Brenier, and another book called Queer, The Ultimate Legibitica Guide for Teens by Kathy Belgi and Marky Bishank. And those are the ones that are receiving the flames in that video. And when I talk about this, it's fascinating to me because I read a Huffington Post article about this, and we all know HuffPo is just another left-wing indoctrinating media source that pushes out just a crap narrative as if it's factual information. And they claimed in that article that that all of Miss Gomez's claims that these were in public schools, that these were in libraries, that these were indoctrinating children, or that they were anyway sexual or over-sexualizing children, all those claims are just false. They say they're false. They don't say how they're false by any means in said article, but they say that they're false. Then you just look at the title of the books themselves. Naked, Not Your Average Sex Encyclopedia. Well, let's look into this book a little bit. Naked, Not Your Average Sex Encyclopedia. And so what I will show you of this is, let's just do Google Images. I believe I'm in safe search so that we can make sure that I'm not going to get a content violation, because that's what will happen. They'll say that these books are not in and of themselves sexual or sexually indoctrinating or pushing children to a certain ideology, and that they should be allowed for all ages. And that us claiming anything otherwise is false. Well, look right here. This is one of the books that was being burned. Naked. You can see some of these pictures in here are less than PG. You can see some of the content within it. Gender normative, gender nonconforming, gender queer, aromantic, asexuality. And then they will say that by no means are these in any way. Oh, they even have the whole LGBTQIP2SAA plus in the book. It's insane. And now let's look at the other one. Queer, the ultimate LGBTQ guide for teens. Let's look at any of these pictures in here. It, of course, shows people of different sexualities engaging in different sexual acts. It won't show me that much that's within the book. but it is obviously let's look at, let's keep going with this. Share this tab instead. Okay. We can read a little bit about this. When do you decide to come out? Will your friends accept you? How do you meet people to date? It's also a challenge to bigotry and homophobia. A delightful collection of trustworthy and accurate information that tweens and teens need today. They need it. They need this information. They need the information about sexuality. Period. Look, I can tell you, I thought I had a phenomenal sexual education because it was fact-based. It didn't go into, here's how you date and here's how you perform certain sex acts based on your sexuality. No, it was, here is what happens when you have sex to your body. And in fact, I even had sexual education teachers. Actually, one of them was very Christian herself. And I loved how she talked about like how the importance of a sexual connection and what it does in your brain and the connection that you have with that other person and how it's not something that should be taken lightly. She didn't necessarily say and come out and tell everybody, do not have premarital sex. Do not do what you feel is right for you. She wasn't trying to push anybody one way or the other in a public school. She just was very honest and candid with everybody. And it was about, here are the risks. And every single time, when she would talk about all the different ways that you could prevent sexually transmitted diseases, that you could prevent pregnancy, she always said the 100% most effective way to prevent sexually transmitted diseases or pregnancy is abstinence. She talked about everything else as well, every other contraceptive, everything like that. But she was clear. Abstinence is the 100% most effective way. And then you'll have the left who don't want any mention of abstinence, who also want you to go in deep detail about the pleasure centers and how to actually receive and give pleasure. No. In my opinion, that's for you to find out individually. Maybe if your parents want to go over it with you, and you find it out as you go along in your own journey. But you should know the risks and what could happen. That's really the way I see it. It's a very multifaceted story, but what I do know is that our children, my children, will not be learning about or going to any school that allows that kind of smut to be taught to them because I want them to be able to read. I want them to be able to actually read and do math and not fail like it seems like so many in this country currently are. And in part, I believe it's because we're focusing on teaching the wrong things. What do you guys think, though? Let's see what's going on in the comments a little bit. Dr. Evil rolls up. How about no? Sex ed when I was in school required a parent's signature and was only about the biology. That's pretty much the majority of what mine was too. And I also had to receive like parental approval. The bicentennial man. I'll have to look into that a little bit. I will. But I'm going on an hour and 12 minutes, guys. I think I will probably go live either between tomorrow and Wednesday. One more time to cover some other stories that I may have missed, other things that could come out. And we'll see what we can do. Make sure you guys follow me on all my different social medias at Speechless Kev. On some of them, it's also at Kevin the Phares. Either of those. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment what you think, share it with your friends, all that fun stuff. And if you want to support the show more than just that, don't feel obligated. But if you want to reach out through providing some level of a contribution so I can keep upgrading my equipment and make it so I bring you guys a better and better show all the time, I'd really appreciate it. Andrea, I'd love to find you a husband. If anybody is interested in being Andrea's husband one day, potentially, reach out to me. Reach out to me through email, speechlesskp@gmail.com, and I will help set you guys up. I'll do it. Matchmaker Kev. And if you have any dating questions, dating advice, or anything else you want me to talk about, send it to that. And I will talk about it because I think talking about that kind of stuff is fascinating and just more than interesting for me and others. And I'm not going to claim to be an expert. I am not always right, but I will be honest. I'm also not going to be nice. I always tell people that. I'm not going to, I might not be the nicest person in the world. I actually know for a fact I am not the nicest person in the world. I'm not even like in probably the top 50%. But I'm a very honest person. I will always be honest with you. And I'm consistently honest with you. I've never lied to you, and I never will. And I promise that. And on that note, guys, God bless you. God bless America. And until next time, thank you so much for tuning in to Speechless.